Thanks so much for agreeing to join us. And I hate that we missed to be able to do this in person in March with our All Pro Dad, and now we've kind of missed. I think last Thursday was supposed to be our All Pro Dad breakfast for April. So, uh,
Yes.
and kind of during this time of the school closures, I'm sure a lot of things that the kids look forward to, they're missing out on. And I know our school district and you and all our teachers are trying to do their best to kind of keep it normal as much as possible in this virtual world. So what are some things I know you are maybe for our audience, folks that are going to be watching this that may not know you, maybe some of the parents or some of the kids may not know who you are. You want to tell us a little bit about you personally and then maybe your career?
Sure, sure. Again, my name is Marion Lawson. I am in my 32nd year in education. All of that time, except for my first year, have been here in Pickens County. I'm a Pickens County graduate. I finished at Easley back in the early 80s. Finished at Furman as an undergraduate and as a graduate with my master's degree. And I was principal at Dacusville Middle School back in 1998, and until spring of 2000, I went to Pickens High School after that and was principal there for 16 years. And this year I'm teaching sixth grade world history at Pickens Middle School. I never thought I served as assistant superintendent for the district for 3 years, and I always thought at the end of my career I would love to go back in the classroom, and so I had that opportunity and took it. And I never, at the same time, I never thought, Mr. Chapman, I never thought that I would be an online, virtual, internet-based school teacher.
Yeah.
And so my students laugh at me because when I learn something new about Schoology or WebEx I'm doing a WebEx lesson and put in a PowerPoint or whatever. I mean, I mess with them and I just say, the old dog's learning some new tricks. So,
That's right.
it's been a great blessing to be in those various capacities and working with thousands of students and parents through the years, and that's just a wonderful opportunity that I've had.
Topic, as you mentioned, is forgiveness this month, and so just got a couple of questions I want to go through and ask you and get your thoughts on it as you share with our dads and in our community. I want to thank our dads who are watching this and who are sharing this. Being in a digital format, obviously we can share it, and more folks, maybe the impact will be, as we talk about impact, maybe even greater because more people will be able to see it than would be able to come to one of our meetings. But what does forgiveness actually mean to you personally?
Um, Again, Mr. Chapman, I know that this is all pro dads, and so knowing that and having read, I don't know Tony Dungy personally, but having read a lot of his stuff, the understanding and the parameter, I might say, of working with all pro dads is that it's fine to share our faith. And so
Yes, sir.
forgiveness begins with grace. God has given us as human beings grace, and He's extended that grace to us through His Son Jesus Christ, who wants a relationship with us, and He wants a relationship with us. And in order to have that, we've got to ask forgiveness because I hope I've been a good whatever principal or whatever it happens to be, but I'm nothing without that forgiveness of my sins. And so forgiveness starts with God's grace, and He allows us to have a relationship with Him. And then for a person, you and I have known each other and been colleagues and friends for years, but I can't have a relationship with you if my relationship with God is not right. And so, and sometimes I'm a human being, and so are you. And I promise you, if you and I work together long enough, I will let you down in some way, and I will have to ask forgiveness for something I've done, for something I've omitted, for something you wanted me to do and I didn't do, or something I did that just was not your idea. And so we have to have that same attitude of being willing to forgive one another so we can have a good relationship with each other. And I think, to me, the biggest thing about forgiveness on a human level is that, number one, we've got to be willing to ask forgiveness, and we've got to be able and willing to give forgiveness. We've got to, otherwise we can't have a relationship. And I've been around 54 years, and there are very few people that I just don't get along with. So I don't deal with them. There's 3 or 4 people, and I try. I've asked forgiveness, and if I've done something to hurt your feelings or hurt you, or please forgive me. If you still don't, okay, then I'm just going to not deal with you. But that's part of forgiveness. You got to be willing to talk to people. You have to be willing to say, look, I'm sorry. I messed up. I blew it. I let you down. I apologize. Let me let me make this right for you so we can deal with each other. So forgiveness is a huge part of our lives.
Absolutely. I had on here. I know. What was the worst thing you ever did as a kid that you had to ask for forgiveness for? But I know some of those things we don't want to go back through and talk about. They were so bad, but we've all done that as a kid and had to ask for forgiveness, and I think it's important, and you kind of mentioned on that, being a father and having grown children here that are adult age now, as dads, um, it, we have to ask for forgiveness as well. And so I kind of wanted to say, or ask you, can you talk a little bit more about that? I know sometimes it's hard. And I know some of us, maybe dads that are watching this, your dad may not have been someone who asked for forgiveness, or may not have been someone who apologized or to their kids. And so I personally believe that that is okay and that is expected as a model for my kids. Several times I've had to go to them and apologize for maybe how I handled something or getting angry with them, when I was disappointed with something. But maybe talk a little bit about that. Why you think maybe it's hard for dads to ask for forgiveness with their kids?
Sure. I think with our family, uh, similarly to with our professional life, whatever we do, whatever our occupation is, wherever we work, it is often hard to ask forgiveness. And I think it's because when we ask forgiveness, we have to first be in a position where our pride is dropped a little bit. In other words, I can't be so stubbornly, and I'm sitting up and poking my neck back. I mean, so stubbornly proud that I would be unbending and unwilling to seek somebody's forgiveness. Um, and that comes from a, a sense of pride. And there's nothing wrong with being proud.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself and being proud of your children and all that stuff. But when my pride gets in the way and makes me unwilling to say, Travis, you're my friend, please forgive me because I did this or I didn't do that, then I've let that feeling influence my life and may cost me my not all of it maybe, but part of my relationship with whomever that is. And so as a dad, sometimes it's difficult for a dad to say, look, I messed up. I was a little hasty here. I didn't get this done. we're not here, whatever it happens to be. And that's, that there again, it's, we sometimes think that we want our children to have whatever the expectation level of us is. And if we feel like we didn't get there, we may be so tied up with our stubbornness that we won't ask forgiveness. But it's okay. It is, and again, that I don't want to go back to keep going back to my two health events, but my children saw me at my lowest point. There was, I mean, when the doctor tells them, talk to your daddy, we don't know if he can understand you. We don't know if he'll come out of this. We don't know if he's going to live, but you talk to him. That is a very, very humbling thing for me. It's very scary for them. And so as a dad, even after that was over, I went back both times and I told my children, I said, y'all, I'm sorry that I put you through that. I'm glad it was me and not you. I'd rather it be me than not you. I'm sorry I put you through that. And so from that kind of sorry to, I'm sorry I yelled at you prematurely. I mean, because sometimes we, you know, my children would tease me, and yours may too, about using my principal voice.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens. But to say, this, I love you so much that I am willing to take the step of saying I'm sorry. And that is tough because all of our families are different. Every dad has different situations at their current home. Every dad has different situations from their upbringing. And so we have to, I believe we have to start right where we are and fix all we can fix, ask forgiveness for what we can't fix. And if it's past, we ask forgiveness, and we try to make things better in the future. In other words, if I did not have a good upbringing or a good home situation, that doesn't mean that I have to have a negative home situation now. I can be the all pro dad that God wants me to be, and supportive and loving for my children, my family, and make it right now. And that is so very important and something that I think we really need to focus on in society as a whole, because that will make us, there's so much junk going on now, obviously with the COVID-19 virus, but in our society, if we don't agree with each other, we're automatically labeled as enemies. There's no forgiveness there. We've got to think about our purpose, as you mentioned a while ago, and then focus on how we can interact with each other in a positive way, so we can do well for ourselves and our family.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good word right there. You mentioned your 20-year-old son being at home and wanting to spend time with you, and I can't help but think that about to all of our dads who are watching this, regardless of how old your kids are. Your youngest is 20, my oldest is 14, and but at some point in time, I want to be in that same situation where my kids are older and grown, and they're coming back and wanting to spend time with me, not because I'm giving them the guilt trip of, I don't know how long I got, and
Right.
your mom and I are getting old. I don't want to do that and guilt them to come. I want them to want to come, and I really truly think how we treat our kids, whether our kids know that we love them, how we show that with our words and actions. But we're not going to get this thing right all the time. Like you said, we are humans and we're going to make a lot of mistakes. But the fact that you were willing to humble yourself and not let pride get in the way to be able to tell your kids that you are sorry or ask forgiveness for them, kind of it helps to build that bond to where they want to come back and spend time with you. They see that as a model, and then again, I think our as all pro dads, what we want to be is hopefully for our kids and especially our sons that become fathers, that we set a good example for them. And for our daughters, I have a daughter, and you have daughters. So for our daughters, we hope that, they see in us the characteristics that they want in a spouse when they grow up, and how they should be treated. And so I appreciate the fact that you live that out in your home and put God first, and kind of prioritize the right way. And for being able to share some things with me today and with our audience about forgiveness. Extremely important topic, and you hit on so many good things. I didn't get to the questions because you had so much good information in your answer. So I appreciate your time and being willing to come on here and do this virtually. We're going to try this, and my hope now is that I can take it from this format and in this recording and get it put out there in a way that's easy for people to access. So
good. Well, yeah, and this is new stuff. I mean, it's new technology, and that's great. Well, and I would ask you, thank you for letting me share, and Dacusville Elementary dads, thank you all for what you're doing. The during these odd times, our children look to us to simply say it's going to be okay. And that is so very important. I mean, and thank you all dads for doing that. And you with sons, tremendous. But as you just mentioned, Mr. Chapman, do not forget those of you who have daughters, because those girls, they need their daddies, and they need their daddies to love them and to take care of them and be a good influence. And so, thank you for letting me share. And I'm not sure how it's going to look either, but whenever you send a link or whatever you do, send me a copy if you will, so I can because I'm learning this stuff too. So thank you.
This is great, and I greatly appreciate it, and it's going to be awesome. Going to impact a lot of folks. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that we can get the technology to work for us. It's working now if we can just get it in the right format. But I'll share that with you. And dads, again, we may not be able to meet again, in person this school year. We may do another All Pro Dad with a virtually like this before the end of the school year. And then we are working on plans for next year to do kind of a kickoff. But of course, we got to wait and see what the guidelines are going to be when school opens back up and when we put this on. Many of our dads, if you're watching, I just wanted to say thank you as well. We've got a lot of dads. I have to mention Mr. Christopher Clark and Mr. Kyle Bishop, who are dads at our school, and they help me do this all the time. They pick up food when we do it at the school and get the PowerPoints ready and all this kind of stuff. So just huge help. We've had lots of sponsors. For food, prizes, all those kinds of things, we've really done well this year. So I want to thank our dads, and there several of you, your companies have sponsored us. So we really are helping to grow that, and hopefully be able to do some really awesome things in the coming months as we hopefully move out of the school closures, and hopefully I pray for safety and health for all of your families and for your family as well, Mr. Lawson. So thank you again for your time this afternoon. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day and a great week.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Take care.